So for everyone who doesn't know me yet, I'm Laura Perkett. I am the founder and artistic director of Chai Collaborative, and we are a Chicago-based collective dedicated to performing works for mixed vocal and instrumental chamber music. And one of our big things is programming music that connects the past and the present. And we also care a lot about crafting programs that represent a diverse array of compositional voices. And so we've been around for 5 years almost. We were incepted in the fall of 2015, and we've had 5 seasons so far, and we're starting to plan the 6th. Planning is a little awkward right now with the pandemic. We're trying to figure out how everything's gonna look, but that is us in a nutshell.
Yeah, I'm Talar Khosdeghian, and I'm the music and operations manager of Chai Collaborative Ensemble. I don't know if I have anything to add to that beautiful introduction about the group, but I could say that, I've been here since the beginning. Laura kind of cold emailed me. I remember receiving the email. I was sitting in the office at the CSO where I was interning at the time, and I received this email from Laura Perkett. And I didn't know who she was or what she was doing, but she invited me to be part of this concert series, and I said yes. And then I absolutely loved it, and we're a great team, and I stuck around, and I'm so happy that I did.
Yay! Shout out to our friends Ali Gessner and James Brakeman for continually saying to me, "You should contact our friend Talar." One of the best decisions I've made in the last 5 years.
Yeah, thanks, James and Allie. We love you.
I'm so glad that happened, because that's how Chicago Chamber Choir found you all. And as those of you that know the choir, Talar is our principal accompanist and has worked with us now for 4 years. 4 years. I remember talking to you about the group and talking to you about collaborative projects that I want to do, and I was just so intrigued by the collaborative ethos of the group. That is something that I feel like is really unique and is a necessary and often missing part of artistic fabric in a community. So really glad to have found this relationship and to do things together and do hopefully lots more in the future. I was curious, Laura, if you could talk about sort of your musical sort of training. What instrument? What's your instrument? Talar is our pianist, and Talar and I just did an interview a little while ago, and if we could I would love to hear from you about sort of your musical background.
Sure. So my background, it's kind of a mixed bag. I'm both an oboist and a singer. I'm a soprano, that's my voice part. And I started getting into music back when I was in elementary school. I first started out with piano lessons, and I also sang in choirs, because choir is one of the main things you did in suburban Minnesota. And I enjoyed doing both. I still kept taking piano as well. So I had this strong foundation in both instrumental and vocal training. And some folks have remarked to me that I kind of have 2 brains with it, which, accurate statement, no lies detected. And for my undergrad, I did both oboe and voice at the University of Minnesota. And then for my master's, I pursued oboe performance at the University of Michigan. I still took voice lessons while I was there. And I moved to Chicago August of 2010. So shortly after finishing my master's. I've been here almost 10 years. I'm surprised by this as I say it. So since moving to Chicago, I've been playing and singing around town. And one thing I noticed 5 years ago is that there was a lot of really great vocal chamber rep, that involved singers and instrumentalists that just wasn't being done, either because folks didn't know about it or folks didn't know other folks from the other side to put it together. So I had a lot of these pieces that I thought that would be really cool if this was heard more often in our city. And I know this person is a fantastic singer and this person is a fantastic instrumentalist, and there's this piece. Let's see how I think they would work together as well. Let's see how this hangs.
That's great. And, you know, as somebody that started as a flutist and a vocalist both, the idea that there's, you know, silos, right, of
Yep.
the instrumental and the vocal world, and that you bringing those together into an organization, into a nonprofit, is just really fantastic. And
Thank
exciting.
you. And the silos are such a construct. It's like, why do music schools do this? There's so much to learn. And I see myself as a human first, musician first, and then like the things I do within music come after.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I guess one thing that we can add to this is that our ensemble is a flexible ensemble.
Hmm?
And so what we have is a roster. And on that roster are musicians of all stripes. You know, what we do for each season is we pair those musicians together, or we put them into trios, or we put them into quartets. And the way that we've been doing our concerts in the last, 2 seasons now, that has been really successful, is that we pick this kind of core ensemble, right? It's like, all right, we've got 4 people on our roster for this concert this time around, and we're going to sort of cycle them around and put them in different combinations. And then we have maybe one piece that features all 4 of those people, regardless of what the instrumentation is. And our audiences have responded so positively to this because they absolutely love hearing the programming that pairs that past, the present, something that's, you know, a bastion of the canon versus something that is just absolutely stunning and no one has ever heard, regardless of the time period, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we pair those pieces, and within that, there's also variety of musicians. So they get to see different musicians in different contexts, in different little ensembles. So that is also a piece of it, and that is kind of unique to us as well.
That's such a fantastic like segue into my next sort of question / thought. And one of the things that really has always excited me about your organization since I learned about it, and that is exactly what you were speaking to, Talar, which is this melding of the old and the new, which I think is so important as we enter into the 21st century. Well, are experiencing the 21st century.
Mm-hmm.
And we see all sorts of new music being written, and how does that interact with old music? And so our first concert together was just that, was pairing old and new. For those that don't know, we did a concert with Caroline Shaw's To the Hands and Buxtehude in Membre Jesu Nostri, or 2 movements of it. And I just wondered if you could both reflect on that concert and those pieces and how those enter into your mission.
Yeah, I mean, that was a beautiful program, and I really hope we can do something like that before too long here. And that program actually, we put on 2 concerts of that program, and they were both to benefit the Night Ministry, which is a local organization. And that's another part of CHI's mission. One of our big pillars is that we want to engage with communities, and we want to use our art in a way that gives back.
Yeah, and a couple of years before that, or the prior year, I don't remember exactly when we did it. It might have even been earlier that season. We collaborated with the Chicago Coalition for the Homeless and Latitude 49, and we did a benefit concert for them as well. And so that has that has developed as part of our identity as a chamber group. And every season we have tried to do that kind of social service work of some kind, whether it's educational or a benefit concert or in some other way service oriented to the communities that we as musicians serve.
Yeah, it's so wonderful to find like-minded artists who want to engage in that work, which is so important. That we don't just do all of this really wonderful, at least on the choral side, which is where my clearly expertise is, all this wonderful sort of social justice oriented music that I think is really important and speaks to our time and our moment, but to actually use that art to affect change and to really engage with the topics in a really honest and productive way. So, it was a really wonderful experience, and I was really grateful to you all for being willing to join us for that moment. To the Hands is such a powerful piece. And I've got my notes here. Hang on, before I start rambling. So how did you feel? What was your experience working with CCC beyond just like that concert being? And I know neither of you were actually like playing in the concert because we had.
Oh, I was there for Buxtehude.
Talar was. Oh,
yeah, I was doing the Buxtehude. No, but the Shaw didn't have me.
Right.
So I was able to enjoy it from a distance.
I mean, and I was sitting there for both performances fangirling over you guys. And so for the experience of working with you all, I would be remiss to not acknowledge Talar for putting in the legwork for getting that collaboration together. Because I think, Chris, it was you who reached out to Talar, and then Talar was like, yes, this is happening.
Yes.
So I wanted to give a shout out to Talar for that. And the impression that I got when our ensembles worked together was that we're both very like-minded. We care about collaboration and integrity on and off the stage. And it was really great to have our audiences cross-pollinate.
Yeah, and to be serving the cause that that concert specifically served. And well, part of the, and I mean, I can, say that I work with CCC all the time, right? But specifically as an ambassador, I suppose, of an outside organization, just the communication and the willingness and really the enthusiasm and excitement that came with working with musicians that aren't in the choir, right? That it is like, we're not islands as artists, right? We have to collaborate. And if we want to stay afloat and alive and thriving, it's in the spirit of collaborating that you actually lift each other up, right? I mean, I think Michelle Obama said, find people who lift you up. And that's really the ethos that Chai Collaborative embodies as well. And so to partner with an organization that also embodies that is really powerful. And I mean, honestly, I didn't think that it could go wrong, and it didn't. So it was a stunning concert. I mean, I will just always remember that like moment of silence after the Shaw was over, because we closed with, and it was just this silence from the audience for a solid 3 or 4 seconds before they kind of processed that this had just happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a really beautiful performance. And I remember we had some trouble with like rehearsal spaces. We were rehearsing in the cafeteria in a basement at one point, and everyone was just, we were such good sports about it, right? Because the art is worth it. You have something to say and you make it work. And that's really what I took away from that collaboration, was that, through kind of thick and thin,
Mm-hmm.
once you have that message, it has to get out, regardless of how you choose to do it. And we worked together and we were able to make it really something special and beautiful and productive.
Yeah. One thing I appreciate about both of our ensembles is that we're not afraid to get scrappy if we need to.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I had totally forgotten about the rehearsal space thing, and
Right?
organizations with like not a lot of support staff, like we have people, but it's not on the scale of anything like Lyric or CSO. For everybody to just be flexible and go with it is such a joy, really. Well, I look forward very much to future collaborations. I know I already have ideas, and I'm sure you all do too. And I know that we will be doing much more together in the future, and I'm really looking forward to it. But for now, Talar and Laura, I really want to thank you both for joining me and talking about your organization today.
Thank you for having us on, Chris.
Yes, thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Alrighty.